Welcome back, everyone, to Challenge. I'm Paul Spychala. At the end of 2 rounds of play this evening, Millburn High still has the lead. They have 155 points, and Livingston High has 45 points. There is a 10-point value to start on every question here in round 3. However, if one school tries to answer a question and is wrong, we'll double it to 20 points. The third round is 7 minutes long. Good luck to both schools. Here's our first 10-point toss-up. Name the only Democratic U.S. president between Andrew Johnson and Woodrow Wilson. Phil.
Grover Cleveland.
Good for 10 points. Here's a toss-up. In which country did Fidel Castro organize his 26th of July movement in 1955? Jonah.
Cuba.
No, I'm sorry. Millburn for 20. Murad.
Mexico.
That's good for 20 points. Here's a toss-up. Name the 34th U.S. president, after whom a battle jacket or combat jacket was named. Time runs out. The 34th president, Dwight Eisenhower. Here's a toss-up. Which Danish-born explorer employed by Russia discovered Alaska in 1741? Jemshade.
Bering.
Vitus Bering is good for 10. Here's a toss-up. Be specific here. When King Edward VIII abdicated in 1936, who replaced him? Rick, in time.
Charles II.
No, I'm sorry. I'll offer it to Millburn for 20. Murad.
George IV.
No, I'm sorry, George VI. George VI, his brother, George VI. Let's go back to a toss-up. We've got a math question for you. We'll give you 10 seconds to buzz in. What is the next highest square after 256? Jemshade.
289.
The square of 17, 289 is correct for 10 points. Here's a toss-up. Which Italian city, famous as the birthplace of the Renaissance, was also the home of Michelangelo and Da Vinci? Rick.
Rome.
No, I'm sorry. I'll offer to Millburn for 20. Reset, please. Jemshade.
Naples.
No, Florence. Florence, the home of Michelangelo and Da Vinci. Here's a toss-up. Name the electronics engineer known as the subway vigilante. That is Phil.
Bernard Guest.
Good for 10 points. Here's a toss-up. Which U.S. state capital is the least populous? It is located in New England. Mike.
Montpelier, Vermont.
That is correct for 10 for Millburn. Here's a toss-up. Which woman in the Canterbury Tales refuses to be dominated by her husband? Jemshade.
The wife of Bath.
Good for another 10. Here's a toss-up. Woodrow Wilson had his 14 points, but which Senate leader had 14 reservations to Wilson's peace plan to successfully lead Republican members to keep the U.S. from joining the League of Nations? Henry Cabot Lodge. Henry Cabot Lodge. Libya's Muammar Gaddafi strung a line of death across a Gulf-bordering country. That is Rick.
Tripoli.
No, I'm sorry. I'll finish the question for Millburn. Name this Gulf where the U.S. had to shoot down 2 planes in an unprovoked attack in 1981. Murad?
Gulf of Aden.
Excuse me?
Of Aden.
No, I'm sorry. The Gulf of Sidra. The Gulf of Sidra. Here's a toss-up now for both schools. Name the group of about 90 islands that constitute the smallest independent country in Africa in area. Murad?
Maldives.
No, I'm sorry. Livingston for 20. The Seychelles. The Seychelles. Name the Tsar of Russia who promised a constitution and a legislature with real power in his October manifesto in Rick.
Nicholas.
More?
The 17th.
No, I'm sorry. I'll finish for Millburn. His October manifesto in 1905 in order to quell an uprising. Mike.
Nicholas II.
That is correct for the 20 points. Nicholas II. Here's a toss-up. Which U.S. president pardoned Samuel Mudd, the physician who set the broken leg of John Wilkes Booth? Phil.
Andrew Johnson.
Good for 10 points. Here's a toss-up. Name the older sister of Moses and Aaron who, according to the Bible, kept watch over her infant brother Moses in the brushes. Time runs out. Miriam. Texas oil man Glenn McCarthy died in 1989. His rags to riches saga inspired which work by Edna Ferber and the movie of the same title? giant. Which part of the human body is the hallux? Phil.
The head.
No, I'm sorry. I'll offer to Millburn. Jemshade.
The heart.
No, I'm sorry. Other direction. It's the big toe. The hallux is the big toe. Two-part answer here. Give the names for the wrist and the palm proper of the hand, the human hand. That is Murad.
Radius and ulna.
No, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. Livingston for 20.
Okay.
Jonah.
Metatarsal and metatarsal.
No, I'm sorry. You're on the right track. Carpus and metacarpus. Carpus and metacarpus. Name the only U.S. state capital built on an isthmus. It is named after a U.S. president. Rick.
Jacksonville.
No, I'm sorry. I'll offer to Millburn for 20. Jemshade.
Madison.
Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin. Here's a toss-up. The Roman Catholic Church announced in 1988 that a piece of cloth venerated over the centuries as the burial cloth of Jesus, that is Rick.
Shroud of Turin.
That's good for 10. Here's a toss-up. 10 seconds, gentlemen. Math question. How many eighths of an inch are there in 12 and a half inches? Phil.
100.
That is correct for the 10 points. Here's a toss-up. Which term is used in music to designate any of the principal divisions or sections of a symphony, sonata, or other extended musical, Jonah?
Movement.
That is correct for 10. Musical composition. Here's the toss-up. Name the UN organization known as the FAO, which helps nations improve the production of farms, forests, and fishing waters. That is Phil.
Federal Agricultural Organization.
No, I'm sorry. I'll offer to Millburn for 20. Murad?
Food and Agricultural Organization.
That is correct. Food and Agriculture Organization. Here's the toss-up. Which word identifies a large-scale orchestral composition ranging in length from 1 to 6 sections? That is Jemshade.
A suite.
No, I'm sorry. I'll finish for Livingston, but usually divided into 4 sections. Jonah?
Symphony.
That's good for 20. Here's the toss-up. In 1894, which U.S. president officially made the first Monday in September a legal holiday for federal... Phil?
Cleveland.
That is correct. Grover Cleveland. Which book of the Bible includes... Time will run out on that question. We are going to take a short break. We will be back with more in just a moment. And welcome back, everyone. The final score of this evening's challenge, Livingston High finishes with 135 points, and Millburn High School finishes with 275. So we congratulate Millburn High as they advance to the quarterfinal round of play. And next week on Challenge, it'll be Scotch Plains against Cranford. For Challenge, I'm Paul Spychala. Good night, everyone.